6 degrees, I want to show you guys how to cut your kids' hair at home. Right now, we're all stuck together here with the coronavirus, and our hair is still growing, so we're going to need to address that. We're going to need to cut it. So I'm going to use my son Axel here today as our model, and we are going to cut his hair and give him just a really nice boy's haircut. And I think you can do it at home with a little help. So let's get started. Here's some of the supplies we're going to be using. Some aren't totally necessary. We're definitely going to need some scissors, a comb, some clips to kind of hold the hair out, and I'm going to use a water bottle because most of you do not have a shampoo bowl at home. We're going to use a water bottle to spray down the hair and saturate it. It makes it for easier sections while you're cutting and makes the cut a lot more even. If you don't have a water bottle or spray bottle, go ahead and have your son jump in the shower and towel dry it really well and then get started. So what we're going to do here to fine sectioning, we're going to comb this hair forward. This point here is called the recession point, right where the forehead comes down and goes down. We're going to comb that hair over and this hair down to start our first section. So go ahead and get that sectioned. The hair's slightly moist, not really wet, but it's moist to keep the sections nice and clean. That's one important thing when you're cutting hair, is to have very clean sections. We can start with this first section right around the front. For some people, this might be all you're going to have to do right now, is to just clean around the hairline. When you take this small section and comb this forward, you can still see where the edge of the hairline is. Now if you go in with your scissors and you just cut right in front of that section, you're going to actually have some really nice, neat results here. You can take a little bit further back, comb it forward. This time you won't have as much hair to cut, but you're going to go here. And you're just cutting right around the natural hairline that's right behind that. We're going to do the same thing with the ear. We're going to comb this hair back now. Here's the hairline. We're just going to cut a little bit in front of that, and we're just going to clean that up. This might be all you need to get by for right now. Let's hope that this quarantine doesn't last for much longer and we can get back to life as normal. But by just sectioning the sideburn forward and back, all of a sudden you have a much cleaner, neater look here. You can see the hair wanting to hit the ear here, so just comb that down. I'm going to show you this next sectioning. We're going to use our fingers, and it's going to be 1 finger length away. I'm going to take that section, put my finger in line with the hairline, and then I'm just going to cut this section 1 finger length away. My hand is touching his head, and then where I cut is 1 finger length away. We're going to take that section, take the next section, comb some of this hair back to stay nice and neat. We're going to take that next section, comb it out, put our fingers right against his head, and we're cut 1 finger length away from the hair again. Okay? And we're going to continue this around the hair on both sides. Now be careful around the ears. Axel seems to like his ears. He likes to wear sunglasses and things, so let's not take it off. He wants to keep this ear. So everyone, be a little careful when you're working around the ears. We're going to continue this kind of going right around the hairline. And like I said, maybe this is all you're going to have to do right now just to get you by. You're combing that forward and you're just cutting the hair that's in front of that natural hairline. You can come up from this way and you're just combing that hair forward and cleaning that up. This really will give you some really nice results that I'm confident that anybody can do at home to get you by for a little while. On the other side here, we're going to do the same thing. Just take that hair forward. If the hair starts to get a little bit too dry, let's go ahead and spray that down again, because you really want to keep it consistent and have clean sections. So I needed to spray that down a little bit. We're going to take this here, comb that forward, and again, we're just going to kind of cut right in front of that hairline, giving it a little space in between so it's not right up on the hairline. Again, with the second section here. Okay, so we're just going to be cutting right around this hairline in the front here. The same thing we did over here, we're going to comb this back, and this hair that's going over the ear, not real tight up here, but just a little bit lower, we're going to clean up right around the ear. And that's just going to give a real clean little sideburn look. We're going to take that same finger sectioning that I took before, where I'm coming up, I'm pulling that hair straight out from the head, putting my finger up against Axel's scalp, and then I'm cutting. The point of my finger is actually pointing a little bit longer, so it's not completely flat. The bottom's right next to his head, and I'm pulling the top of my fingers out so that we go from shorter to a tiny bit longer up here at the top. Let's take the next section. We're going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to take this hair up And at the bottom, my hands are gonna go right up against his scalp. But up here, I'm pulling away a little bit. So we're angling it away from his head so it slightly gets a little bit longer. And then we're gonna cut that again. We're gonna say in these same sections all the way around, maintaining a little bit of length here up at the top so that it has a nice gradual length going from shorter to a little bit longer to where it will attach to the top. Once you pull the ear down, you can pull this here down, and then you want to just cut right around the ear as well. Okay, you're just pulling that hair down and just trimming it. Now, depending on what kind of scissors you have, it's going to make your job a little bit easier or a little bit harder. Probably on Amazon, you can go and find a somewhat decent pair of scissors. If I can find one, I'll put the link in the bio. And you know, something you're not going to spend a ton of money on, but something that's going to be sharp enough that when you actually close the scissors, it's going to cut the hair. It's nothing worse than trying to cut hair or cut anything with anything that's dull. As we comb that down, now we're just going right around that hairline, making a really clean little section there. As I'm coming here, rather than continuing high, I'm going to start to take little sections following the shape of this hairline. I'm basically moving in sections like this around the head. And I'm starting to do that finger length towards the bottom, pulling the top out just a little bit, and we're cutting. And we're gonna work this long section all the way to the back of his neck, coming down. So we are still working our sections back. I'm gonna take this, you can always go back and double check your work. And when you pull that out, you can see there's a little hair here. So as I'm extending, I want a little bit of length up here, and I want to get shorter as we're going towards the bottom. So it actually has a slight angle. It's going short at the bottom to a little bit longer at the top. Here's where the head starts to curve around to go to the top. If I put this comb on the head flat, you can see the distance here. That's kind of the distance that I want to maintain around the hair, okay? So as you're working your way around, you're just taking these nice little clean sections, getting the comb underneath there, pulling it away a little bit, and cutting, and working your way towards the bottom. And I'm putting my hands up against the scalp. And we're gonna continue this all the way around Axel's head, and we'll show you the results in just a minute. So as you're taking the sections, body positioning is good. You can put your hand over the top. We're doing the same thing. I'm pointing my bottom of my hand now closer to the scalp, and I'm bringing this further away. Once you cut little sections, you can follow your guide. A guide is basically the hair that you've already cut. You pull a little bit of that into each section so that you can follow it. And you're just taking tiny little sections at a time so that you can see the previous hair that we cut. And you're just gonna work your way around. As we're getting close here to the bottom, we're gonna basically keep our hands right against the scalp. So it's getting shorter and shorter. Once we come around and we do that on the sides, we're gonna kind of do what we did around the front. Comb the hair down and just slightly go right around the hairline, making a nice clean hairline here. Once we're done, if you have a little trimmer at home, you could always clean this up. You could also use a little razor that you have at home, like a Bic razor, and just slightly clean the little peach fuzz that they have around the edges, just to get a really nice, clean finish. So after you go around and do the sides and the back, this is a little bit more an advanced technique, but I think you could possibly do it. These are texture shears or thinning shears. If you have these, great. If not, you can go through with regular scissors. But if you want to come around over here and take a look, we took sections coming this way, vertical. Now we want to take sections horizontal. We can go up, and it just basically is attaching everything and making the haircut look really special. Because if you go vertical all the time, Sometimes you can still see little sections and you want to go up. Now, if you have a trimmer at home, that's fantastic. A lot of people do. If you don't, like I said, you can use a regular razor. But once you have that, you're just going to go right around the hairline. We've already cleaned that up with the scissors. And we're just going to remove some of this, what I like to call peach fuzz. And we're not trying to give a new hairline. We're going right at the bottom of the hairline and just cleaning that up. It gives a really nice, clean look to the haircut. So this technique is called scissor over comb. You're taking the comb, you're going up the hair and pulling it out, and taking the scissor and cutting straight. This is a great technique. As you get faster and faster, you can do this really quickly, but take your time. And this is just a really nice way to clean the hair. And it's just going right over the tips here, just to blend them all really nicely and make everything blend really, really well. Now, if you have a son like mine who's very active and loves to mountain bike and skateboard, you're probably gonna see scars and things like this on them. You know, I guess that's normal. This is what kids do these days. They're very active and they always love to get hurt for some reason. So when we're doing scissor comb over the front, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can do it this way so that the comb is following the hairline. You can also come in this way and do a little scissor over comb this way. I'm using texturizing shears again, softening the ends, blending towards the top. Now this was after we did all our vertical sections. Now we're kind of cross-checking it going horizontal. And it's just a really nice way to blend so that you don't see any of the little cuts along the way. It grows out really well. We're gonna start transitioning now, and I'm gonna show you how to go to the top of the hair now so that we can start to cut the top and blend it. We still have our sections that we've kind of gone down right to the recession points like a horseshoe going around the head. We're gonna take a section along the top and just part it about a 1-inch section right down the middle of the hair, okay? We're gonna take that section, pick it up, and we're gonna trim it now. We're gonna cut off about 1 inch here. So we're just gonna cut straight across there. We're gonna follow that sectioning right down the middle of the mohawk, pulling it straight up and cutting that off. We're gonna go right through the front of the hair. Same thing, following it, pulling it up, straight up, and cutting it. The next section, we'll take a little bit of the section we just cut and a little bit over on a section we haven't cut. And we're gonna pull that up. And what you start to see is you actually start to see your guide. You can see through the hair what we've already cut, and we're just gonna match that section, pulling the hair straight up and cutting it. This is about as perfect little layers as you can get. It's also considered a 90-degree haircut, they call it. We're just pulling the hair straight up from the way it grows. I'm going on the other side of that first initial part, and I'm cutting straight up. Once you get those 3 sections down the middle, a nice mohawk, you can actually turn, go behind your client, and start to cut. You can see the area that we've already cut, and we're gonna now start to go across, and we're just crisscrossing. We went straight down the hair, now we're going over the top of the hair in an opposite direction. And we're just gonna trim that hair, pulling it straight up from the scalp. We're starting to see some of that short hair that we already cut on this side, and we're basically blending the two. And it's just gonna be a really nice blend, and we can do that on both sides. Pulling that hair up. We've already got the short hair over here that we already cut when we were cutting the sides, and we're just following the shape of the head and cutting the hair through the middle. We're gonna continue this around the back of the hair, pulling the hair straight out, just cutting that, blending the top. And my friends, that is about gonna complete our haircut. Now I guarantee that this is gonna get you by through these times, possibly a little bit better haircut than what you've already been getting. Let's hope. If not, this is gonna get you by. You're not gonna feel like a caveman, and let's get back to work. It's business. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy. Axel, what do you think? You like your hair? All right.